Hello everybody and welcome back to another new and noteworthy mod review. Now today we're going to take a look at additional game settings. Now when this mod first was announced and I was looking over it, I was thinking, okay, it gives you a lot of options, alright, I don't really see the big deal. Then some folks in the Discord were basically saying, man, you need to check this mod out. It's pretty cool. And I was like, okay, well, all right. I guess if I have time, one day I'll go look at it and see. And now that I've had a chance to look at it, this thing is now in my stable of always use mods. I'm surprised. I really am surprised at how useful a lot of these options are. And quite frankly, it'd be cool if we saw these maybe in the next version of the game as standard settings. So, what does it do? How do you get to it? And what are all the settings about? That's what this video is going to be all over. So, to get to it, we hit escape and we go to the gear up here at the top, additional settings. So, we can turn the HUD on and off. Now, we can do that with other mods like easy dev controls and hide HUDder and all of these other things. But what really sets this apart is the combination of options that the additional settings mod gives you all from one screen. I mean, you can really combine 5, 6 mods maybe down into this one. So HUD on or off. Pretty straightforward. No HUD. Now we have our HUD back. Over here, the tractor. We have our HUD. We don't. Pretty straightforward. And we have crosshair. You know, it's that little nasty blue little reticle in the middle of your screen. I hate it. I can't stand it. It's like I'm always staring at this little blue circle, this little white circle. Turn it off. Gone. That's exactly how I want it. And I have a mod, no crosshair, that does just that. That's all it does. But it can come into a little bit of problem. You're trying to move things by hand because you just kind of have to guess. Sometimes you miss. Sometimes you're not quite centered on it. And you're like, why am I not grabbing it? There we go. Well, this option, partial, fixes that. So now when you walk up to something, oh, I get the hand. Walk to the hand. So we don't have the reticle. We get up to grabbing distance and boom, I get the hand, and now I can make use of the hand tool. So I really like that new partial option. Current date, off. Okay, so let's turn it to hour. So up there in the top corner, top left corner, you'll see it is now 5:06 p.m. as I'm recording this. We switch it to date and hour. Now you see it's March 26th, 5:06 p.m. Or we could switch this to hour, date, and details. Now we know it's Friday, March 26th at 5:06 p.m. I mean, maybe you play a ton and you just forget what day it is in real life. Maybe, I mean, I could see, I have a clock that sits on my PC tower so I can see what time it is for legit purposes. But I can see the clock. The date, kind of interesting, but it's a nice little perk. 24-hour clock on or off. So now it is 12:33 p.m. I believe the 24-hour clock is the normal deal. So turn the AM, PM off. Fade effect. This is amazing. Amazing. All right, so this is me cycling between the cameras. That's normal. Let's go here to fade effect, and basically, let's crank it up to the top, 800 milliseconds. Now, camera. Oh, look at that. Got a little fade to black and back. Much nicer kind of transition. It's even when you come out of the menus. That is a hidden gem right there. Makes those transitions feel smoother. Right? Even when you get out of the tractor. Info dialog boxes on or off. I'll be straight up honest with you. I've not been able to reproduce this setting doing anything. Let's take this up to the shop. I've asked around. Best information I've gotten back is that it turns off the pop-up boxes in the game. But I have not been able to reproduce that. So your mileage may vary on that. If you can figure out what exactly it does and describe how I can reproduce it, I would love to see it work and understand where and why it works. But at this point, I don't really know. So I thought it would do this. When I got in, where it says New Holland T5 100, I thought it would hide that. Info box is off. But it doesn't do that. That stays there. Play delay. See, it says that. So then I thought, well, maybe, you know, when you go and bring a trailer to dump at a sell point, maybe it would prevent that pop-up at the bottom of coming up that's telling you to hit, you know, X to unload. But no, it doesn't stop that. As we'll see here in a moment. See, still get that pop-up. So then I thought, see, it's still set to off. Then I thought, well, maybe, you know, when you get that you don't own this land, you can't do that here. No, I still get the you don't have access to this land if I try to tip anywhere on ground I don't own. So what I've been told it either definitely means or probably means is boxes that have you that come up in the middle of the screen, like UI boxes. So I'm trying to think of when that happens. And came up with one scenario, and that is when you are using a repair trigger or something like that. But you would want that box to come up, and it still does come up even with this setting set to off. Return, that comes up. So yeah, I would think maybe like you could hide those. People would want to hide those, so you could just come up here, know where you were supposed to be. You could hit this, and you could hit enter twice, and never see that box from a roleplay standpoint. But like I said, I haven't been able to reproduce this to make it go off and on. Trailer fill level indicator on or off. This one was a little tricky. This one took me quite a while to figure out. And what it does is you have to be in something else, like a harvester. It is set to on. I'm going to pipe out. Close. And there you go. Your little pop-up. Now, if I get out, all right, I still see it. If I get into this, it's not there. You can't be in the vehicle that is attached to the trailer. Okay, I just detached the trailer. And we can see that now. Okay, so we can see that that is 36% full. Because I was thinking, and I was trying this, and I couldn't reproduce it. That's why I put this silo down here. I was like, well, maybe it's when I fill from the silo, it shows me. No, it seems to only work if you are not in the vehicle as it's filling. So let's see this. Load this. So some people may find it useful. I think this indicator would be really useful for someone who's running a harvester. See, we don't see it. But now we do. If I disconnect the trailer, we see it. As I connect the trailer back up, we don't see it anymore. Vehicle camera smoothness. Smoothness. All right. Right now it's set to off. This is normal, right? Turning around. Camera's kind of jerky, right? Let's turn the smoothness all the way up to 100%. So now it's going to be exaggerated. It's going to be extra smooth. Look at that. Let's turn it off. We go a little crazy again. I don't know if you can see that. Turn it back on to 100%. Try to go crazy again. Basically, it slows the camera down. Camera still keeps up, but from a content creator's perspective, and this is a gem. This is a gem. All right, let's continue that with player camera smoothness. All right. I have a trackball, so I'm just moving my thumb back and forth. Okay. Now let's stand here, and I'm going to use my trackball, and I'm just going to spin full 360 degrees with my thumb. Now, we're going to exaggerate this to 100%. I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm spinning the 3D camera with my thumb, with my trackball, and that feels a lot smoother than this. Then if I go this way and around, compare to with it off. And back on again. Oops. So I really like both of those smoothing options. Got to fine tune those and figure out where my sweet spot is. Easier engine starting. I didn't have any clue what the heck this meant. So I have automatic engine start turned off. Okay, so if you turn it on, you know, the engine's off. You get in it, turns it on. I turn that off because there are times that I want the engine to keep running when I'm not in the vehicle. But what that means is, if I hit the W button, I get to start the engine first, and it gets annoying. I'm like, oh man, I forgot to start the engine. What this does is, if you hit W, it just starts the engine for you. Now you can still get out. It's still running. But I didn't have to hit enter. All I did was hit W, and I'm off to the races. That is a quality of life improvement for folks that are sometimes or always forgetting to, hit enter. Possibly you're on a multiplayer server, and you don't usually play with the auto engine off, start off. This is going to be a lifesaver for you. Now, auto save game, auto restart. I'm not going to turn this on. I'm not going to demonstrate it. What it does is it will cause your game to just launch straight into whatever save game you're in when you turn this on. You only ever play one save game. There you go. Because when you launch the game, you're just loaded straight into the save game. You don't have the choice of picking your mods. You don't have the choice of picking any of your save game save slots. It's just straight on in. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm leaving that off. I turned it on to figure out what it did. I had to basically completely take the mod out of my mod folder for me to get back to a normal operation. Basic machines in the shop, on or off? Well, machines. In-game stuff is on. And I see mods and DLCs. Now, if I go in here and set that to off, and I go to the store, now I only see mods. Or I only see DLC. I do not see base game equipment. So the way I see it, that can be handy from the standpoint of maybe you have, maybe you don't want to play with base game stuff. You just don't want to see it. Maybe you're having a hard time sorting through the list and you have a whole big ton of lists. You want to kind of narrow it down and do it that way. Custom lighting. So this, I didn't even think about until Polish map came out with different lighting. And I know people don't like the deeper shadows. This lets you set the lighting of the map you're on to one of the base game presets, or you can set it to a custom preset that you make. Let's go over here. We've got some shadows, we've got some sun. Okay. So right now we're running Felsburn lighting. Change it to Erlengrot lighting. Looks a little lighter, maybe. I don't know. Got a Farm Sim League lighting. Might be a little darker. Go to off. We can turn custom lighting off. Back to basic. Now we have really dark shadows. Felsburn. So as the helper kind of text says, if you put some custom lighting settings, you can find it by creating, basically going into the Farm Sim 19 mod settings lighting folder and working with that. Brightness. Really oversaturate the game if you really, really want to. Or if the game's a little bit too bright, darken it up. 1:50 p.m. and it is pretty dark, like a solar eclipse. Depth of field, on or off? Okay, you see those mountains over there? Depth of field's on. They're blurry. Depth of field off. They're nice and crisp. Some people don't like depth of field being on. Here you go. You can turn it off. Birds, on or off. Handily, there's some birds here. Some people, for whatever reason, don't like the birds in Farm Sim 19. Just turn them off. Bye-bye, birdies. You're gone. Turn back on. And the birds will eventually respawn. Animal collisions. This is an interesting one. So, anyone that's ever played in a map where you have to drive into an animal area knows that you can drive through animals, but you can't walk through them. You run right into them. See, run and walk through them, and boom, I just get stopped. But you can drive through it. What this mod lets you do is turn that off. Now, it does require a restart of the game in order to that happen. So we're going to come back to this after we restart. Now, let's go back here and go to camera collisions. I personally am not a fan of camera collisions. The setting by default is on. Okay. You'll see the camera gets a little wonky, when you get by things. That's annoying. I don't like that. I don't like the camera just zooming on me. So what you can do is go in here and turn camera collisions off. Now, camera is where I tell it to be. Even if it causes the camera to go through an object, it goes through the object. I like that a lot better. Some people don't like it. Some people do. It's up to you if you like it or not. I don't like the zooming. Games like SnowRunner have the zooming and it's just flat out annoying. It's like, I want the camera angle I want. So let me restart the game and I'll show you what the animal collisions off is like. So now we're back in the game. Animal collisions are turned off. I can just walk through the animals. Same way I can drive through them, I can now walk through them. So guys, that is additional game settings. Hope this video helped you understand what maybe some of those settings do, as well as maybe realize how cool this mod is. Maybe you kind of discounted it like I initially discounted it. But yeah, Rockstar hit it out of the park with additional game settings. Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about, and that is this restart game. I hit this, and what it did is it closed the game out and took me back into the save game I was in, but it was basically at the, it didn't bring me all the way into the save game, but it like pre-selected the save game slot. And once I did that, I couldn't break out of it again until I took the mod out of the mod folder. So there are two things that I would suggest you not touching if you play different slots, different save game slots. Don't touch restart game. Don't touch auto game, auto start, or save game auto start. Leave them be. The game will act as it has before. But I think the partial crosshair hits it out of the park. I think the fade effect hits it out of the park. Vehicle and camera smoothing, they hit it out of the park. Trailer fill level will be great for folks playing multiplayer and basically doing a harvest. You can see when your trailer is full. Easier engine start is great if you forget to constantly turn your engine on. You can just hit W, off to the races, but you can also still get out and leave the engine on. Custom lighting can be very useful for someone who just doesn't like the lighting of the map they're on. They can change it to whatever they want. Game's too dark, game's too bright. Custom lighting doesn't help, just adjust the brightness. Camera collisions. I always run the disable camera collisions mod. This now lets me take camera collisions out, lets me take the no crosshair out, lets me basically do a couple other things that I've never been able to do like have smoother looking around. I'm doing my map videos. I can find a setting where I can get a nice smooth effect, similar to using a joystick, except it's with, scroll wheel. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite feature of additional game settings? And until next time, happy farming. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell.